And we'll start with reaction to the Kenneth Smith execution. State officials and the United Nations weighed in on the now tested execution method of nitrogen hypoxia. Convicted murderer Kenneth Smith is now the first person to undergo nitrogen suffocation for capital punishment. Smith was paid $1,000 to kill Elizabeth Sennett, the wife of a Colbert County pastor, more than 30 years ago. Last night, Smith was put to death by a face mask that deprived him of oxygen. The Alabama Attorney General praising the team at the Alabama Department of Corrections for, quote, being willing to be the one to step up first in the country. Here's more from the Attorney General.
Nitrogen hypoxia as a means of execution is no longer an untested method. It is a proven one. And it's the method that Kenny Smith ultimately chose, along with now 43 other death row inmates in our state. And thanks to the Fair Justice Act, which our administration passed during our first year in office, we are finally starting to see these cases move faster. It is my hope that one day, sooner rather than later, that the Alabama Attorney General won't have to stand up here and talk about how many decades some families had to wait before justice was served.
But not everyone sees the move as innovative. Smith reportedly appeared to shake and convulse before officers pronounced him dead in an execution that took 22 minutes. Today, the United Nations Human Rights Office calling the method, quote, inhumane and, quote, torture. The agency listing their concerns at a meeting in Switzerland. A top item listed, they think this method violates a human rights treaty signed by the U.S. Let's listen in.
We saw that the authorities issued a statement saying that it worked and it is a satisfactory method of execution. It is not. It is not. It could amount to torture, inhuman, degrading treatment in violation of the treaties, the human rights treaties that the United States has signed. So we are very worried that this could open the door to further executions, and this is why we feel the need to speak out again clearly that this is not acceptable.
Mississippi and Oklahoma have also approved nitrogen gas execution in their states, and a bill could pass to make it possible in Nebraska as well. Again, the focus of this execution is largely on Smith and the method used. Attorney General Steve Marshall also shares his reaction to how the Sennett family handled themselves during this difficult time. He says it took too long for justice to be served. Take a listen.
Remarkable grace and humility that they showed last night, but I think they were also very clear. They received the justice that their mother deserved for the events that occurred in her horrific death. And the one thing that we cannot lose sight of, majority of the questions that we've had here today have dealt with Mr. Smith. We cannot lose sight of the fact that a woman was brutally murdered, taken from her family, and that's the reason why the state of Alabama had to act last night. Let's remember her legacy and her life as much as we remember the person who took her away from us.